Welcome everyone to the Sports Jedi Network, and today in this video, I am recapping this past UFC pay-per-view, UFC 319 from Chicago, Illinois, as we got a new middleweight champion. As I'll talk about the fight and my thoughts and performance, which if you read my post, you probably know how I feel. And the title of the video says all, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Anyway, don't forget this video, thumbs up, share the video, and of course, let me know what you guys think of the fights itself, the ups and downs, what was your favorite performance, what wasn't, etc. And we'll go from there. But before I do, I just do want to hang on, look this up real quick, and then from there I'll I'll go and break down the card. Just give me one moment, people. Sorry, I thought I had it loaded up, but I didn't. Yeah, I do want to shout out the prelims. Actually, I do want to shout out the prelims real quick. I do want to mention Joseph Morales win the Ultimate Fighter, defeating Albi Idris Idris. Excuse me, I'm butchering his last name. In the first fight of the prelim by submission triangle choke to win the Ultimate Fighter. Controversial fight between Kareem Silva and Dion Barboza, where people feel like Barboza should have won the fight. I didn't see the fight, but a lot of people feel like Barboza got screwed by the judges. Then you got Dirk close for being Edson Barboza, which surprised me. I thought Barboza was going to win that fight. That I'm very shocked by. And it may be time for Barboza to retire. I mean, I mean, it's hard for me to say, but at the same time, Barboza's not the same guy he was a couple years ago. You know, like 10 years ago, he definitely would be in Jakar close. 5 years ago, he would be in him. Maybe even 3 years ago. But he's been so many wars, so many battles. It's just Barboza's not the same. And this fight shocked me. Alexander Hernandez being Chase Hooper by knockout. First of all, I thought Hooper was going to beat Hernandez just because Hernandez is not, he's solid, but he's not exactly like, elite fighter. And I thought it was a perfect fight for Hooper in this point in his career to take someone like Hernandez before he goes into the deeper pool. But Hernandez beats him and knocks him out. And I agree with the stoppage. I think it was a good stoppage. Some people felt like it was early. I disagree. I thought Hooper was going to win. Hernandez dropped him and hit him with some shots. Hooper was not really responding well. He really wasn't responding and trying to the shots after getting dropped in. It was a very good stoppage. I totally disagree if anyone thought it was an early stoppage, personally. But yeah, actually, I don't know why I said but there. I said sometimes what makes no sense. I'm just now recognizing this. But anyway, I say that word again. Anyway, good performance by Hernandez. Definitely, good job by him and good stoppage, in my opinion. Libigo Diaz beats Jessica Andrade. Was wrong about that. I thought Andrade still could win the fight, but she may be past her prime too. She's not that old, but she's had a lot of fights and taken a lot of damage. Mikhail Oseichek beats Jared Mershar via TKO in the first round. Good job, Oseichek. I mean, he started the Fighting Nerds success of the night because he's moved to the Fighting Nerds, and I think he's 2-0 now with the Fighting Nerds or something like that. 2-0, 3-0. I think I said 2-0 in my preview video, but I'm not certain at the moment. Now I'm forgetting for some odd reason, but good job by him. And then this is a hard name to pronounce. Bansar Surikov defeats Eric Nolan. This is a guy who won a contender series a couple of days ago, like earlier in the week. And then a fight fell off, and then they booked him and Eric Nolan for this card. And he's trained with Khamzat's friend, and he won his fight via submission in round 2. Yeah, so good performance by him. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the prelims. Let's go to the main card. Tim Elliott beats Kaya Sakura in the opening fight, the main card by guillotine. And man, we all got this one wrong because I don't know anyone picked Tim Elliott to beat Kaya Sakura. I didn't. I said this was a few years ago that Tim could, but I just thought Tim's 38, hasn't fought since December 2023. I just didn't think he would beat Kaya Sakura. And I thought, he'd be open to body shots and knees up the gut. And Sakura he landed like 1 or 2 knees, but not many as I thought he should have. And he landed a few body shots around 2, but Kai Sakura, he won round one, clearly. Like, he rocked him, landed some good shots on Tim. Tim really didn't land much on Asakura round one. Even though he got a takedown at the end of round one, which was very worry sign because he got a takedown and Asakura really didn't do much to be able to get up from there. So you have that factor. And Asakura looked the better striker. Tim Elliott just not the best striker. Got hit, like I said, a couple of times. The one thing about that fight that Asakura should have done is in this fight is throw more leg kicks. Because he landed a few leg kicks and in Elliott's herky jerky style, it leaves him open to getting like hit with leg kicks. Somebody said it's like a watered down version of Dominic Cruz, what Tim Elliott does. If you ever watch Dominic Cruz, his weird awkward style, Elliott's similar to that, but it's not as like effective as Tim Elliott. As Dominic Cruz, excuse me, obviously. And yeah, Tim Elliott did land a couple shots on Asakura round two, but it didn't hurt Asakura. Asakura took him well. It did nothing to him at all. But then he got the takedown. But he got two takedowns in round two actually. Actually, I'm not sure if they count that first one as a takedown because the UFC stats said Elliott's landed 2 of 3 takedowns. He went for a takedown, but Asakura was able to get up like immediately and get away from Tim Elliott. So I thought, okay, that's good for Asakura. Watching watching the fight, like, oh, that's good. Tim Elliott, Asakura can he can defend, he can get up immediately from takedown positions. But then he got the second one, and there Asakura was basically fucked. And he just sorry, the rain. Sorry if you hear the rain in the background. I didn't know it was gonna rain this time. I thought it was gonna rain before, based on the weather report I saw earlier in the day. So I was kind of like waiting for the rain to record this video, get through. But anyway, it shouldn't be too bad, the rain. What was I saying? Oh yeah, Asakura couldn't get up from Elliott, and then Elliott got a guillotine choke, a deep guillotine choke, and Asakura was trying to fight. He was trying to fight, but couldn't, and he had no choice but to tap. And yeah, man, I am shocked that Elliott won this fight. Asakura's ground game, particularly getting off his back, was not good at all. It looked terrible. And it seems his ground game is not good. I know you didn't. I thought he had a decent ground game, like it wasn't like the war. Like what I mean by decent, I mean like I didn't think he'd be a fish out of water all on the ground. I thought it was okay. And I know people were saying, well, the Pantoja fight, but at the same time, it's Pantoja. Pantoja does it to a lot of people. It's kind of hard to judge Asakura based off the Pantoja fight when he does it to everyone. But here, this fight, it just shows that, damn, he couldn't get off from Tim Elliott at this stage of Tim Elliott's career. Yeah, Asakura's ground game, especially when he gets taken down, is just terrible. He was a better striker, clearly, but his ground game is trash. Got call for what it is, and this is a bad look for Asakura getting submitted by Tim Elliott. And the thing with Asakura is that even though he won round one, it was the better striker, he could have done better. Like I said, he should have done more body shots, should have done more leg kicks, more knees in the gut. I get maybe not doing too many knees in the gut because you didn't clinch and you get risky and take it down, but still, I feel like there was openings where he could have done it, and horrible look for Asakura, just terrible. Tell me it gets the victory, and one thing that I saw MMA Guru tweeted, which I agree, was that this definitely helps. This actually helps Demetrius Johnson because after Pantoja beat Kai Kara France UFC 317, and then everyone started talking about GOATless and this and that, people were kind of like putting Pantoja as the greatest flyweight of all time, or only needs 1 or 2 more title defenses to pass DJ. People are saying, "Oh man, look at the guys." Because people are trying to say like the current champions only needs 3 title defenses, all you do is these little things, and they're clearly better than the previous old school champions because MMA has just gotten that much better. Which is something I've never believed in. I always thought it was bullshit. MMA has gone better. Some of these fighters have gone better in terms of skill. Some of them have, but MMA hasn't improved that much, like by 300% in like 10 years. It really hasn't. Because Tim Elliott is a guy Demetrius Johnson beat in the title defense in 2016. Kazakura just lost to Pantoja in this past December. And also, people might know this, but Tim Elliott does have a victory. I believe a submission victory over Kai Kara France, who Pantoja just beat. Now, Pantoja is a great fighter, elite fighter, one of the best. Someone who I praise, who I think is underrated. But do people go out there and say Pantoja is better than Demetrius Johnson, or that he's like are they like it's this close between the two of them? Like he's only this much behind DJ. It's just insane. That's crazy, people. Can we like stop that? People, too many people in the MMA YouTube community, MMA social media are prisoners of the moment, and this is an example of it being exposed in this fight. Just people need to stop with that. But anyway, good performance by Elliott. Bad performance by Takaya Sakura. His grappling, man. His grappling looked terrible. His defense just terrible. And anyway, let me transition from that to the next fight. MVP being Jared Cannonier. MVP wins 29-28. MVP won the first 2 rounds. Round 1 was very entertaining. I liked round 1. And MVP did a good job in the clinch work. Like Jared Cannonier went for clinch and tried taking down upper body takedowns, and MVP was able to like get the underhooks and just chuck him off. There was a moment where he chucked Cannonier off and like kind of like I think he did a trip, like a judo trip, where he tripped Cannonier, and he threw Cannonier down. He kind of fell. That was really like, oh shit, wow, that was cool to see. And then he rocked Cannonier with like a combination punch where it looked like Cannonier was joint slam and he was a little off balance. MVP caught him with like 1-2 and dropped him briefly. And MVP was like taunting him, doing like calm down, almost like to taunt him and get the whole crowd into it. And MVP also landed some other good shots as well throughout the fight. A lot of 1-2s, but he did land in round 1 that fight. Clay won round 1. Round 2 he still landed some good shots in Cannonier. Then Rocks then punches him, cracks him with like a right hook, and then just pushes him down, which I kind of like to see. He just pushed him, like that. And the thing with this fight is that Cannonier early on really couldn't land that much MVP. He landed a few times, but barely did anything. Like real, he was missing a lot of his shots in his fight. His MVP didn't throw a lot, but he landed more. But he landed more in the striking, clearly. And Cannonier, and after even though Cannonier did better in the second half of round 2, he really didn't do much at all. Like, yeah, he got a hold of MVP, but didn't do much in the clinch. Really didn't do anything. Kept going for double legs as well. Like he kept, even when he wasn't in clinch, he was going for double legs, and MVP was defending that well, getting the underhooks, and it was when he was going for a double leg takedown, MVP chucked him off and pushed him down like that. It was more of a double leg 10, more than clinch work. Let me just correct myself there. But yeah, this was a very good. Yeah, he won round 2 MVP clearly. Landed more significant strikes, hurt Cannonier, pushed him down. MVP Cannonier didn't do much, and then round 3, Cannonier won that round clearly. MVP was getting sloppy, like he kind of like lunged in and like I think Cannonier was able to like trip him or something, and then from there he got MVP's back. MVP and Cannonier was going for like a arm triangle, and I think he went for a rear naked choke, but couldn't get any. No, not a rear choke. A Kimura. I don't know why I thought rear choke. He went for a Kimura, but he was in half guard, and he couldn't step his leg over to get the Kimura because MVP wrapped his leg around Cannonier's other leg. Well, actually, not left leg, right leg, because the way they were positioned, it was the right leg. If you step over, actually no, he probably if he could got his left leg over, he could got the Kimura, but MVP was trapping Cannonier's right leg, which kind of made it hard. I'm just trying to remember like the sequence because Cannonier was in half guard going for the Kimura, and he couldn't step his leg over. And it's hard to do. It's hard to get Kimura half guard. You gotta put your leg over to your opponent's head to get the Kimura in that position. But MVP was wrapping his leg around one of Cannonier's right leg, kind of make it hard for Cannonier to move because one of his legs is trapped. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. But it is what it is, and he also went for arm triangle, but MVP was able to fire off and going for he went for submissions, landed some decent ground and pound, but not enough. Not enough to make it 10-8. Like he did land enough ground and pound to win the round, but not enough to finish MVP or to get like a 10-8 round. And the thing with MVP is that MVP's worked on his defense of like his defense of getting taken down. Okay? Once you get MVP down, he's a fish out of water, like Kaya Sakura. Like he's not good. Like he's not good getting up. He doesn't present any danger off his back. And it's hard. If you can get MVP down, you're basically gonna win. But the problem is getting him down. He's worked on that. He's improved on that. You saw in this fight, Cannonier couldn't do anything. Kept going for double legs, couldn't work. Clinch work didn't work. And MVP clearly was the better striker. The name of MVP is that like his fights in the UFC, he's putting a lot of highlight moments. Not like a highlight. He doesn't have a KO, but he's had like highlight moments where he's catching guys, rocking them, dropping them, and toying them and stuff. But he hasn't been able to knock guys out. This performance was a lot better compared to some than his previous UFC fights. Not that they were terrible, but still, MVP at times can be boring. But this was the most entertaining MVP fight of them all. And the thing with Cannonier is that like if Cannonier would have done some dirty boxing in the clinch, it would have just done that. He could have really like fucked up MVP because MVP because I'm trying because MVP, was able to get out of some of these positions, but there were moments where MVP was trapped in this position for like a 30 seconds, to like a minute and stuff, to where if Kaner those moments could have like done some damage, like dirty boxing him, elbows, punches to steal rounds, or to damage MVP, slow him down, so that way he can catch MVP. That way MVP, so that way he can win rounds, and maybe MVP in that way, maybe you can like what's the term? I'm forgetting what I'm trying to say now. Yeah, basically damage and win steal rounds. And in that way MVP's like kind of like stun a little bit. Maybe there you can transition to again a takedown. That's what I'm trying to say, basically. But Kanner couldn't do that. And that's what if you're gonna fight MVP, if you're not like an elite grappler, like you're not like a Khamzat Chimaev, try dirty boxing him. I don't know why guys don't do that against MVP. Like dirty box him, try smother him and do stuff like I understand you can't just smother him stand up because he can just counter you. Like we saw what he did to Cyborg Santos, where hit that flying knee that just knocked him out and broke his skull. You don't want that happening to you. I understand you can't just try to smother him to stand up because he can just counter you, drop you, or do something like that. But if you're able to get a clinch, like or go for get grappling hold, why not just throw elbows, punches, dirty boxing him? I don't know why guys don't do that more of MVP. That's just something I don't understand. But it is what it is. MVP wins this fight, and MVP should stay at middleweight. By the way, he should not try to fight Protest because MVP is realistically one fight away from fighting for the title. It's a lot of fun matchups for him too in that weight class. Middleweight, you got Strickland when he's not longer suspended. If he wants to wait, you got him and Adesanya, which they should fight. I mean, why not? It's a fun striking matchup. You have him versus the loser of Mavov and Braho. You also got him and the Ritter. If the Ritter doesn't fight for the title soon, you have maybe him and Whitaker potentially. There's a lot of funner matchups in that weight class for him and Dricus possibly. I mean, there's a lot of fun big matchups for him to fight too. That I would like to see. MVP fight, and like I say, he's one fight realistically away from fighting for the title anyway. So I think he should stay at 185 because he's got the speed advantage, the somewhat skill advantage in striking, and I think this is a weight class he can do very well, and he should just stay at 185 in my opinion. But we'll see what he does next. Hopefully stays at 185. Now we'll go from there to Carlos Prates and Jeff Neal, as Carlos Prates gets a spin elbow knockout. And it's crazy that Fighting Nerds have two hot knockout of the year contenders. Mauricio Rufi's knockout were Bobby Green in UFC 313, and then you have this knockout, and of course Laura Murphy's knockout, which I'll talk about eventually. But man, what a fun fight! Prates and Jeff Neal, both guys landed some good shots on each other. Prates got caught with some punches in the head by Jeff Neal, who's a very good boxer. Got caught a few times, but Prates landed some good body shots, good good punches and stuff. And I think maybe a leg kick involved as Prates was moving side to side and just catching Neal. Like basically Prates was a step ahead in this whole fight. And Neal landed some good shots, like I mentioned. Prates was a step ahead, being lateral, moving side to side, giving Neal problems, like I mentioned in my preview video. Neal struggles against guys who do that, and because Neal's such a backward fighter type of deal. And yeah, man, Prates was just winning this fight, looking very good. And then of course, 1 second left. He He lands a spinning elbow, knocks out Jeff Neal before the round can end with second left, and that shit was just wow. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, whoa, that's insane to land that, especially since he hurt Neal prior to that elbow. He rocked Neal like a couple seconds before. Then a couple seconds passed by. He throws it, lands it, and the elbow landed like in the temple. Like if you watch the replay, it lands like right here. And it's like, oh yeah, he's out. Just lands like right like around this side. Well, not this is not the temple. This is the temple, but still it lands right here in the side and just knocks him out completely. I mean, this was a great performance. Definitely deserved the performance bonus for that. Knockout of the year contender. Might be knockout of the year. It could be. Although if you give this one, you kind of have to give Murphy and Pico. Murphy and Prates both might get co-knockout of the years because I don't know if you can say one's better than the other. I really don't think so. But actually, let me know what you guys think. What was the better spinning elbow knockout, Protes's or Murphy's? Which one and why? Let me know because I'm thinking about it now and I'm like struggling. It's like, they both were so good. Fuck. But let me know. Anyway, yeah, Protes, great bounce back victory for him. He needed it after the Ian Gary fight where he just looked terrible the first 3.5 rounds, then fumble the round 5 finish against Gary, and it just sucks that Gary beat him because but hey, Prada's got a lot of his high momentum back after this performance, thankfully for him, the fighting nerds. But yeah, man, Ian Gary, I don't like Ian Gary, I can't stand him. But Gary is a good fighter, considering he beat both of these guys. It's just like, fuck. Ian Gary, how good is Ian Gary? But yeah, I mean, good performance. Like Jeff Neal, like I said, had moments in this fight because he's a good boxer, but Prates just outlanded him, did more. Was using lateral movements to avoid like getting hit with too many big shots from Jeff Neal. But then of course the elbow just knocked him the fuck out. Just impressive, brutal like knockout. One of the best knockouts of the year. Just incredible. And he wants to fight in that Rio card in October, which makes sense because he didn't take too much damage. He called out Leon Edwards, and hang on, let me just fix his camera. He called out Leon Edwards Prates for which I like that fight. It's a fun fight for him. I don't think MVP should fight. I rather see Prates fight someone else in the welterweight division. Either Joaquin Buckley, Leon Edwards, Michael Morales, because Michael Morales is from South America and from Ecuador. So maybe fight there, and that way some of his family and friends can come over from Ecuador too. Brazil to watch him fight. I think hopefully Prates can get on that card because that'd be nice to have Prates on that Rio card with Charles Oliveira fighting Rafael Fiziev. But good performance by Prates. As we transition from that to the co-main event, which is Aaron Pico versus Lauren Murphy. As Lauren Murphy gets the victory over Aaron Pico via spin elbow knockout. This was a fun fight too. It lasted for a round, but it was a fun round fight. Pico looked solid. He did not look terrible. Some people were saying, "Oh, it was a disaster for Pico." Yes and no. Yeah, getting knocked out that badly was bad considering Murphy's not known as a knockout artist. Yeah, but it's a spin elbow. Spin elbows knock guys out. It doesn't matter who you are. If you land it perfectly, you're knocking your opponent out. We can't forget that. But what was I gonna say with this? Oh yeah, but with this fight, Aaron Pico, he was like a bat out of hell basically. He was just wild, which he's always been, just fighting wildly. Murphy lands some good shots. Like Pico's the thing with Pico is that he does leave himself open to getting hit with style. And Murphy caught him with some counters, stun him a few times with some 1-2s, which was stun Pico, but Pico kept pressing forward. And Pico lands some good body shots on Murphy and caught Murphy with a hook. And and at one point I thought he dropped Murphy, but Murphy slipped early in round 1. That's what, if you go back and watch, Murphy just slipped, but it looked like Pico caught him with a punch, but it wasn't the case. And Pico landed 2 takedowns on Murphy. Murphy got up from them, but still he landed 2 takedowns and was trying to go for like a submission, try to wrap his legs around Murphy's leg, but Murphy's will get up before he can do that. And this was a very good fight, good performance from. Like I said, this was Pico didn't look outclassed against Murphy because a lot of people thinking Murphy was going to outclass him just show him levels to this. But Murphy looked good. Like I said, Murphy was able to catch Pico with some counters. As as Pico himself wide open to get hit with some shots, he did. Murphy, was able to get up from these takedowns, and Murphy was landing some good shots on Pico. And Murphy's good. Like, he's undefeated for a reason. But Pico did not look terrible out there. Like, he had moments of success with some good body shots, some good punches that broke the guard Murphy and takedowns. But Pico is too wild, and he can get knocked out too. And Pico, even though Pico was like pressing forward most of his fight, he did leave himself open and getting hit, like I mentioned, and that's where Murphy landed a spin elbow that knocked Pico out, and it was just crazy. That was not shocking because Murphy's not known for knockouts, and yet he knocked out Aaron Pico. Yes, Pico it has been knocked out before in Bellator, but the thing is, he hasn't been knocked out in a while. I think people forget that. It's been a minute since Pico's been knocked out. But Murphy landed a perfect spin elbow that dropped Pico and just destroyed him and knocked him out badly. That was just, wow, what a crazy performance. And Murphy was able to stay undefeated and got performance bonus, rightfully so, after what he did there. And that was crazy what he did. Crazy. And Murphy, like I said, I know I've been talking about Pico, what he's done, but Murphy looked good. Like I said, he did look good in this fight and was able to show like good striking for the most part. He got hit a couple times by Pico, but still, he was pretty good in this fight. And Murphy, it's tough because I think Movsar Evloev deserves a title fight because he's 19-0 versus 17-0, and I think he's won more fights than Murphy has. I almost said that words by mistake, confusing Leon Edwards. I don't know why. Considering they look nothing alike, and one's a welterweight, one's a featherweight. But anyway, Murphy definitely Evloev is 19-0, Murphy 17-0, but Murphy's been more active. This is Murphy's third fight in the last 12 months. Whereas Evloev hasn't fought since December. I know he was supposed to fight Aaron Pico, even though he should have never been booked against Pico. But remember, Evloev pulled out of that fight. He pulled out, and it doesn't help that he's not known to be super active. And Murphy's already had 3 fights in 12 months. And the UFC was saying it had Pico beating Murphy, that they were going to do Pico and Volkanovski. And hang on, I'm trying to remember the UFC said himself. I know Pico was saying that. I know a lot of people were saying that. And Volkanovski, it seemed like based on what Volkanovski was talking, it seemed like the winner of this fight, he was probably going to fight next with the title. It seemed like basically whoever won this fight was going to get the title fight. And had Pico gone out there and knocked out Murphy, I think they would definitely give Aaron Pico the title fight against Volkanovski. They would have, but it didn't happen. So now it looks like they're going to do Murphy and Volkanovski. Now, me personally, I'm torn because you know what? I understand why I give it Murphy because the Evloev deserves a title fight, considering he's undefeated and he's won 9 in a row in the UFC, and he's come off with victory over Aljamain Sterling, but he's not active enough. Yeah, Murphy's actually active. He's been active, and they're already hinting at the winner of this fight, vying Volkanovski. Volkanovski wants to return to fight. Have him fight in December or November would be nice. Well, December, based on what Volkanovski said in his video on his YouTube channel. If Evloev, you don't want to, book a fight with him, and then he pulls out like he usually does, and then you got an Arman Tsarukyan situation. You don't want to deal with that featherweight. So, you know what? I'm 50-45 towards Murphy. Give Murphy a title fight. Why not? Murphy's on a win streak. He's undefeated, obviously. He had a impressive spinning elbow knockout. Now, do I think Murphy's going to become this entertaining style of fighter? No, I don't think so. But I got to give him his props for laying that beautiful spinning elbow knockout. That shit was awesome. That was insane to watch. And Murphy definitely deserves his title. I mean, Murphy definitely deserves a high-profile fight next, whether it be a title fight or a title eliminator. Like, if they do go with Evloev and Volkanovski, Murphy should fight the winner of Silva and Diego Lopez in a title eliminator fight. I do think or Yair Rodriguez in a title eliminator fight. if Yair wants to fight instead of sitting on his spot. Fuck Yair. But anyway, yeah, great performance by Murphy. Impressive. I'm not complaining they give him a title fight. Like I said, 50-45 lean towards him personally. But if they don't give him a title fight, give him the winner of Silva and Lopez or Yair in a title eliminator. Make it a title eliminator. But yeah, great performance by Murphy. Excellent. That was an excellent performance. Fun fight for how long it lasted. Anyway, let me transition to the main event now. Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev stays undefeated like Lil Murphy and is your new UFC middleweight champion as Khamzat Chimaev wins unanimous decision. I forget the judge's scorecard. Might have been 50-43, I think. Let me check let me see right here. What's this? 50-44. Okay. So only one of the rounds was a 10-8 round. Probably have to be round 1, I assume. Or actually, I don't know what round they gave 10-8, but it is what it is. And Khamzat Chimaev, he was dominant. He dominated Dricus Du Plessis took him down immediately, held him down. Du Plessis couldn't get up. He got the crucifix position multiple times, and just Dricus couldn't do jack crap. Dricus wasn't strong enough to get out of these positions. Now Dricus did a good job defending the submission, preventing himself from getting submitted, but same time, Honda didn't go for main submissions at all. Khamzat proved that his wrestling is that much superior to everyone, which we all knew. I said going this fight that Dricus was going to win, but that he was going to get taken down, and when we knew he was going to get taken down. If anyone who was predicting this fight, and he did, but Khamzat just stood on like white on rice, took him down multiple times, held him down, and just didn't allow Dricus to get up, didn't allow Dricus to get his way out, and just held him down. And he paced himself too. Khamzat paced himself to where he wasn't gassing out after round 1, round 2, or round 3. You know what I mean? He was able to pace himself and not get tired out and hold him down, which is something which is a good thing because if Khamzat's gonna be champion, these fights go past round 1. He can't gas himself out. He's got to pace himself, and he did here. And people mentioned how he was training with Sam Calavia, which is TJ Dillashaw's old strength and conditioning coach. And he definitely learned how to pace himself here and is able to not get tired and keep doing what he's doing while gassing out. Especially considering he's taking Dricus down and trying to hold him down and do things like that. So it was impressive in that part. He dominated Dricus, which is impressive to go out there and dominate Dricus Du Plessis because Dricus Du Plessis has never been dominant before. He only had 2 losses, and he wasn't like he got dominated in those fights like that. Now, I know he got finished against Roberto Soldic back in KSW in Poland, but at the same time, it wasn't like Roberto Soldic just went out there and just outclassed him. He did finish him but with good body shots, but still, no one's ever done that at Dricus Du Plessis before, and he did here. And so yeah, I gotta get Khamzat his props in this way for dominating Dricus, be able to hold him down and be able to pace himself, not gas out, and just dominate him in the wrestling, just outclass him in the wrestling. Because we all thought Dricus had decent wrestling and good wrestling, and Dricus was strong enough to where he can get up in these positions. And we learned that's not the case. Dricus is not strong enough to. And Khamzat is just a fucking monster when it comes to wrestling. Maybe the best wrestler and grappler in UFC history. He may be. And he may be, when you think about it. He's it's just he takes everyone down, and the thing is, there's fights. A lot of these fights, it takes him 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and then he takes you down like that. He's gonna go for a takedown, and he still does it anyway. So it's impressive there what Khamzat is able to do. So I'll give him his props there. However, this fight was boring as fuck. Let's just be honest. Can we stop acting like this fight was entertaining? This was a boring ass fight. It was boring. And this fight frustrated me, not because Khamzat won. I thought Dricus was going to win. I wanted Dricus to continue winning. It wasn't that. It was the way Khamzat won that fucking pissed me off. It was fucking holding him down, barely doing ground and pound, barely going for submission. He landed one or a few strikes. He landed a few strikes, and one of them, caused a bruise, but it was one strike out of how many opportunities he had. Dricus would hold him down for 2 minutes, and he'd just need him to die. Or he had the crucifix, which is the most dominant position in MMA. and throwing baby punches like this, like baby punches, not like this, like that, hard punches, but like baby punches like this. And it's like, come on, bro. Most guys when they get a crucifix are able to finish their opponent. Like he didn't throw any elbows. And by the way, 12-6 is legal now. You can throw 12-6 elbows, and yet he didn't do it. Did not do it at all. Fucking sucked. It was bullshit to watch. I'm upset. You know, like if and I get, hey, don't put yourself in a position where you wind yourself up, you allow your opponent to escape. I understand that. I get it. I do. I really do. But when you're in a crucifix, you can throw elbows. Doesn't have to be like all the way wind up, but it can still be like, you know, slicing elbows like this to where you can cut Dricus, and that way when you can throw punches to where it is a target Dricus to where it may be easier to rock him and knock him out potentially, or get a doctor to stop it. He didn't do that at all. He barely went for submissions. There were times where he had dominant position, barely went for submissions. Like he went for like maybe twice, I think, went for submission. But there were plenty of other times we could have. Or could have used the dread of submission to throw more punches, but didn't do it at all. He didn't. It was horrible to watch. This fight fucking was not entertaining. It was a dominant, yes, but it's still boring as fuck. And let's just say what it is. And all these some of these fans going out there saying, if you don't like it, just watch kickboxing. It's like, no, this is an MMA fight. If you guys, I tell you fans this, go watch wrestling. If this is what you want to see, watch wrestling. I'm not talking about professional wrestling. I'm not talking about WWE, AEW, TNA. I'm not talking about that wrestling. I'm talking about collegiate wrestling, Olympic wrestling. I'm talking about that. Go watch that, because that's what that was. This was wrestling. Like, this is an MMA fight. This is UFC. UFC stands for Ultimate Fighting Championship. Not wrestling. Which, I'm not against wrestling. I like wrestling. I like watching wrestling. When guys use wrestling, and when guys use wrestling, don't hold their opponent there and throwing baby shots and stupid knees to the die. They don't do jack shit. I actually like watching guys use wrestling to advance position, ground and pound, submission attempts, and take guys down and just drag them down. Like, you watch Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Dolidze. I love that fight. I love that performance. That was excellent. That was entertaining and fun. That was fun. Anthony Hernandez used wrestling in that fight and dragged Roman Dolidze down and bullied the fuck out of him. But that was entertaining. That was fun to watch. That was really fun. That was good. That was good. That was good. That was fun to watch. It wasn't boring. He actually beat up Dolidze and choked him out and bullied him. It doesn't help Khamzat when we just watched Anthony Hernandez last week do what he did, and then Khamzat does that. It's like, come on, really? It's like, that's just not good. And I don't want some of these fans to gaslight us and thinking they have to accept that. No, you can be a hardcore MMA fan and still enjoy, and still want to see, and still enjoy, and want to see fights not be boring. Like Arman Tsarukyan and Mateusz Gamrot, 75% of that fight was grappling. And I love that fight. It's one of the most entertaining fights I've ever seen. That fight was 75% grappling. I loved it. Entertaining as fuck. Like, the scrambles and the wrestling takes. Oh my goodness, that was fun. I like wrestling when guys aren't just holding their opponent down doing nothing. When guys aren't just doing stupid knees to the dies or doing baby punches. When guys are actually trying to fight. Like, Khabib Nurmagomedov is an entertaining fighter. He grappled, he wrestled, take guys down and smash them, as he would say. Khabib fights was entertaining. He used wrestling in all his fights. Entertaining as fuck. And that's not what Khamzat did here. He did not do that. This was boring. Let's call it for what it is. Boring, 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 boring. And if you think we can't criticize this shit, you guys should just watch wrestling. This is MMA. This is a combat sport. You gotta go for submission attempts. You gotta advance position and actually more times and hurt your opponent. And that's not what he did here. In the striking department, because round 5, it was it was a decent amount of striking. Not a lot, but decent amount. Dricus actually landed shots on Khamzat. Like, Dricus actually did better in the striking department, crazily enough. It looked like for a moment Dricus was going to goof his way to a victory. I mentioned this because I didn't want to talk about that. And, like, he got Khamzat's back briefly, but Khamzat escaped and survived. But I thought it was funny. Like, it looked like Dricus at one point was actually going to goof his way to the victory and like an amazing comeback victory, but it didn't happen. But yeah, like, and also what I mentioned around five is like Khamzat base. It was like it was crazy how Khamzat how in the feet Khamzat didn't well actually on the feet Khamzat really didn't land too many big shots considering he already tired Dricus out. He already dominated him, ragdolling him, and was draining Dricus's energy in the grappling exchanges. But yeah, he couldn't like do anything in the striking department. That's just crazy. But Hamza did enough to win. He deserved it. Congrats to him. And I hope he fights in October. Please let him fight in October because the thing of Hamza that sucks about him being champion is that if you know since 2021, he only fights once a year. He rarely fights twice a year. Well, actually, wait. No, I take that back. He fought twice in 2022. What am I saying? But it's rare for him to fight multiple times a year since 2021. And because of injuries, his health. This guy's fucking health is not the best. Like if he gets sick, infected, it really fucks him up badly. He's how many times have seen in the hospital, like with COVID. Like he really struggled with COVID. His immune systems is not that great at all. He and his health and his conditioning and his travel restrictions. Oh, now he's a UAE citizen, so maybe that helps him. And what's going on with the Russia Ukraine situation with the peace talks with Trump and Putin, maybe that can solve problems to where Hamza can basically doesn't have to travel issues into find America like he's had until recently. And I mentioned Russia Ukraine because for those of you who don't know, Chechnya is part of Russia, so I do have to mention that. So with all this going on, maybe Hamza won't be restricted due to freaking his visa and stuff, and plus being UA citizen does help as well. But even with all that, his health is not the best, especially his immune system and all that. So you have to worry about like him being able to fight, considering he might get injured and pull out, or he might be sick and like when he gets sick, it really fucks up his immune system and everything. He can't fight multiple times a year, and that could be a problem for the middleweight division because the middleweight division right now is in a good point. You have Bravo and Mavo about fight in Paris. You have Anthony Hernandez. You have RDR. You have MVP now. You still have Strickland. Yeah, Alasan's still around. Whitaker, yes, has lost 2 in a row, but he's still elite middleweights. He's still pretty good. We can't sleep on Robert Whitaker. I won't be surprised if he goes on a win streak, a 2-fight win streak. Would not surprise me at all. And the middleweight divisions, and you got Dricus Du Plessis still. And the middleweight division right now this whole summer has been about the middleweights. A lot of big middleweight fights. The middleweight division is moving. It's moving in terms of like rankings or it's gaining movement. And I don't want that to be derailed because they have a champion who only can fight once a year, and that'd be terrible. So that's why I want Hamza to fight in October because he said he wants to fight in October, and on the Abu Dhabi cards, he's an Abu Dhabi citizen. It makes sense. That way, at least we get a title defense. The middleweight division can still be moving, and to me, here's what I think they should do. If the UFC is serious about making Hamza and fighting for the middleweight title in Abu Dhabi, and Hamza really serious about this, put him in RDR. I want to see him in RDR. I think it's a fun match. I mean, do I think Hamza will win? Yes, he would. But it's tricky considering RDR has got great jiu-jitsu and he's great off his back. And maybe that could cause Hamza to not want to hold positions long because of the fact that he might get submitted. I think the Gilbert Burns fight, Hamza didn't really spend most of the fight wrestling because he was afraid Gilbert Burns is his guard, considering Gilbert Burns is an elite jiu-jitsu guy. And it turned out to be an entertaining fight. And by the way, Khamzat Chimaev, yes, is entertaining. I do want to address this real quick. Sorry, I'm going over the place, but I just got to address this. Khamzat Chimaev is an entertaining fighter for the most part. This was his second boring fight because the Usman fight, that fight sucked. And it was boring, and there was a lot of striking in that fight too. After round 1, because round 2 and 3, Khamzat didn't have much success taking down Usman, but yeah, like Khamzat Chimaev is mostly an entertaining fighter. I understand that. I want to acknowledge that, and yes, he is. But this was boring. I think we have a right to call it out, and I just hope Khamzat doesn't become boring in championship fights because we see it before where guys are entertaining leading up to becoming champion. Then once they become champion, they turn boring, i.e., Israel Adesanya. I just hope it's not the case with Khamzat Chimaev. Do I think it's the case? Maybe not. It depends on the matchup, but I just hope that's not the case. But yeah, at this moment, Khamzat Chimaev is still an entertaining fighter until otherwise. That's what I'm saying. However, this performance was fucking boring. I'm gonna say it. But anyway, back to him possibly fighting Abu Dhabi. If he does fight in Abu Dhabi, I hope it's him. I want him RDR because I think RDR is ready. He's active, and I think that's a fight that could be it could give Hamza some problems because RDR is very good off his back with jiu-jitsu, and RDR does a lot of knees up the gut and does do a lot of clinch. So I do want to see that fight and see how it goes. RDR is very goofy, very awkward fighter. Well, who knows? Maybe Hamza takes him down and just chokes him out because RDR goes for submission, leaves himself, or maybe it fails and Hamza can just ground and pound him, or just gets, or maybe Hamza just sends up and maybe Hamza does catch him with something and drop him. Because Hamza does have ability to drop guys because he knocked that Ikram Aliskerov with uppercut in the regional scene, and he did drop Gilbert Burns badly in their fight with striking. So Hamza has the ability to knock guys out and drop guys, but his striking is not exactly super elite like that. But he could get better than that. I'm not gonna say he can't because he can definitely get better there. And plus RDR is not known for being the best striker, so it's possible he might catch RDR and drop him and maybe knock him out. I could totally see that with him and RDR. So that's why I say I want RDR and Hamza to fight each other. If Hamza is serious about fighting Abu Dhabi in October and UFC wants to make it, just do it, UFC. Who cares if Hamza is the co-main event? You think Hamza gives a shit he's the co-main event? And do you think RDR would give a shit if he's the co-main event? As long as Hamza is fighting Abu Dhabi and RDR is fighting for the title, that's all they care about. That's all those two care about. I'm mentioning this because pay per view, the main event is Aspinall and Gone for the heavyweight title. But at the same time, if you decide, okay, Hamza is a bigger star in Abu Dhabi, we're gonna put Hamza and RDR as the main event. Do you think Tom Aspinall gives a shit if he's the main event or Zero Gone? No, they don't give a shit. As long as as long as he's fighting for the belt for Zero, if you're Zero, as long as Gone's fighting for the belt, that's all Gone cares about. Aspinall, as long as he's able to defend his belt and actually fight, that's all he gives a shit about. So I'm pretty sure none of these guys give a shit their main event, co-main event. Just do it. I don't want the UFC going, oh, we can't do this because this and that. No, just do it. Who cares? If you want to keep the main event as the main event, put Hamza in the co-main event. I think Hamza and RDR can live with that. Or if you want to put them as the main event and put the main event as the co-main event, which is heavyweight title fight, I don't think those two men, Aspinall and Gone, give a shit. I think they're okay with this. I think they're okay with this. Anyway, I'm rambling a lot longer than I expected. This video is 47 minutes. I'm just gonna end it. Yeah. But anyway, Khamzat won. Boring fight. Dricus Du Plessis, man, he entertaining fighter. Championship run was exciting. A lot of big fights. A lot of pressure on him. And I'm a fan of Dricus, and Dricus will bounce back. I do think Dricus will fight for the belt again. I don't know if he'll win it. As long as Khamzat's champion, it'd be a hard time for him to win the belt unless he works on his takedown defense and his ability to get up and being off his back. Like if he can work on those things, maybe he can give Hamza a tougher fight, and maybe win the belt back. But he's got to work on those things if he's going to beat Khamzat Chimaev. But we'll wait and see. And if they don't want to do RDR and Khamzat, do RDR and Dricus. We need to see the goofiest fight and goofiest high level fight in MMA history. We need to see it. I want to see it. We all want to see it. That'll be fun to watch, and let's do it. If not, then maybe Dricus and MVP. And I could. Why not? I wouldn't mind seeing that. But either way, or Dricus against the loser of Amavov and Braho. Anyway, that's my video, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you think? What does the main event? Who do you think's next for Hamza? Who do you think he should fight in Abu Dhabi if he does fight there? Also, Hamza, I forgot to mention, and I saw something that on MMA social media that Hamza in his Twitter mentioned RDR. Literally, he put RDR and he tweeted that, which is Randy Ritter. Basically, he wants to fight. It seems like he wants to fight Randy Ritter, which let's do it because Randy Ritter is open to fight Hamza in Abu Dhabi. So just do it. Let's get it done. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, listening. Have a good night every time watching this, and yeah, but the card was a good card till the main event. It was an excellent card, entertaining. The two spinning back elbows, fucking insane. MVP Cannonier fight was entertaining for the most part. I don't think it was that boring. Some people thought it was boring. I disagree. I don't think it was that boring, in my opinion. A lot more entertaining than the main event, especially once the main event. Shit. And Elliott and Casacora, man, Kai, come on, Kai. gotta work on that grab. Gotta work on your getting up from takedowns and working off your back, man. Tell you, good job on him. And yeah, and oh yeah, DJ still the flyweight go. Slow your roll about Pantoja, and I'm a Pantoja fan, but DJ's DJ. Let's come on. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, listening, and I'll see you guys next time. And of course, next video is the preview of UFC in China, the Johnny Walker and Zhang Mian card, which is Aljamain Sterling and Brian Ortega. But I'll talk more about that in that video. See you later.
Yeah.